because it is new, it is change, and we fight change, and we fight the unknown more than just change. And so because there's the unknown and this is the devil we don't know, we ignore the devil we do know.
And I don't have the answer for that, ladies and gentlemen. I do not have the answer.
Do you know when we had the first self-driving car in this country, allegedly? What year?
It was 07?
06, 07.
Somewhere there?
I believe, technically, of what we know of,
Yeah.
Google was the one that had it.
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree that there's been a lot of data points and a lot of innovation since then?
I'd be a fool not to.
And a lot of time for companies like Google, because they're not the only one. Tesla was right behind them, and Tesla's like right with them on it, and other companies as well, to get a lot of data points of cars that drive themselves with, you know, a human for legality just sitting there monitoring, for them to be able to go prove that cars can autonomously drive themselves much better at a much lower death rate per trip than a human being handling the car could. Do you think that could be reasonable to say? I'm not expecting you to say, like, is that the case? I'm saying, could it be reasonable that they've had enough mileage of data since then to be able to say, hey, per miles driven, here's the number of deaths that can happen or would have happened in our simulations versus here's the number of deaths that happen per mile driven of a human being driving the car?
For the sake of the argument, I'll say yes.
Okay. Let's say, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, let's say on the average day, I don't know, there's 10 fatal car accidents in the United States. I don't know if it's 10 or 100 or whatever, but it's some number. Let's say it's 10.
Mm-hmm.
If the government starts allowing self-driving cars,
right,
and for the sake of argument, we get to a day where there are an equal number at the same time, a 50-50 percentage of human cars and self-driving cars on the road on day one, just for the sake of this illogical experiment that you and I are setting right now.
Right.
If on day one, 10 people are killed in fatalities by human cars, and one person is killed by an automated car, what's the news story?
Automated car kills person, and I think I see where you're going with this.
Yeah. And so there will, of course, on a human level, let's even say I knew the person that died. You don't think I'm going to be devastated? Of course I'm going to be devastated.
Yeah.
Of course I'm going to be emotional. And actually, if I was close with the person, I should, for the sake of this argument I'm making, I should be someone totally removed from the conversation here, because the conversation here turns to the news story, and to be very, very unempathetic about it, if we're just going to label it the sob story of the one person who died versus the 10 people who died and with human-driven cars. And then let's say, for the sake of argument, we continue this experiment for 300 straight days or 400 straight days, and it continues at an average clip of 10-1.
Right.
We will continue to say the automated cars are bad, despite the fact that they have a 90% reduction in death or fatality ability on the road, because it is new, it is change, and we fight change, and we fight the unknown more than just change. And so because there's the unknown and this is the devil we don't know, we ignore the devil we do know. And so when I look at COVID and I look at the data that the CDC puts out in September about fatality ratios, this is a September 10th report that's been in multiple show notes. I'll put it in there again every time.
Of course.
That shows that if you are 70 or above, yeah, there's a 5.5% chance that you die when contracting, whereby everything younger than that is within, I believe it's within like 1%, and all the way down to like the youngest people, it's like 0.02%. Mm-hmm. Far more dangerous than the regular flu, I might add.
Of course.
By a large factor. It's not even close.
Oh, yeah.
But there is a level to which you have to say, well, comparatively speaking, what is the trade-off in the long-term health and viability and freedom of the people in a country if we perpetually continue to, at the drop of a hat, when anything goes wrong, completely take away our norms and take away our, or voluntarily give up our civil liberties to try to get a lid on something that may never leave the air? Because, by the way, and I have not checked this in the last few weeks, but New Zealand, that got down to 0 cases, had a couple more cases come in.
Correct.
I don't know what they've done since then. I have no idea, people. So maybe they haven't locked down at all. I don't know. But I'm just saying, it still came back.
Mm-hmm. It did. And, you know, for all my blustering, I do want to hedge that even if America did everything perfectly, even if we pulled a New Zealand and we got it down to 0, we'd still have to worry about other nations doing their part. And I'm not saying that they would or they wouldn't have. These are hypotheticals that I can't possibly dream of exploring.
Yeah.
But there's always the possibility that it could have re-entered and we could have to do this again. And to your credit, that is an extremely valid point of where do we draw that line between giving up our civil liberties and accepting an additional risk.